Hey guys, it's Kyle Bennett with hardocp.com, and today what we're covering is something we touched on last year, which was FreeSync versus G-Sync. And we have FreeSync 2 out this year from AMD, and of course we still have NVIDIA's G-Sync. And we're going to compare those again like we did last year in a blind challenge. We set up two PCs next to each other, which are identical in nature, except for video card and obviously FreeSync and G-Sync support. And we use two different displays. This year we're using a Samsung QLED C27HG70, which as of recording this cost $534. We reached out to NVIDIA and asked them for a comparable display in the same price range, and we didn't really get what we wanted there. We ended up going with the Asus Swift ROG PG27VG. Both these are 27-inch curved monitors. Obviously, the big deal between FreeSync 2 and G-Sync is the support for HDR lighting. So what we've done is we've used Forza 7 racing game, which makes pretty good use of HDR from what we've found out doing side-by-side comparisons. So we've brought in, we brought in a bunch of gamers, some older gamers, some newer gamers. We have them sit down, play on the system for 10 minutes, play on the other system for 10 minutes, come back, play the system again for 10 minutes, play on the other one for 10 minutes, and then we're just doing a short interview. This is far from scientific, but it's just some of my gamer friends, and actually my daughter we use as well. So they just, tell us what they see the difference is. We're really focused this year. Last year we did it, we were more focused on video card and the FreeSync element of it. And we were really so we didn't prime the people going in, but what we did ask them was to look more towards visual elements about what was going on in the game and what they got out of it visually. And Forza 7 is actually beautiful. So this is a really good game to do this with. And obviously it does have HDR support. On one machine, we are using a Vega 64 stock clocked air-cooled card. Looking at it around today, I could find it in stock. The cheapest I could find was $800. We're going to put that up against a 1080 Ti overclocked water-cooled card. So the cheapest I could find it today was $970. So the Vega 64 is running at stock clocks. The 1080 Ti is running right around 1,998 megahertz average from what we've seen. We're using the gigabyte card. I can also link it below. So the settings on the game. So Forza 7, you can go on, you can set ultra settings, but I have not locked those. They allow the game to look at what the video card can handle in terms of everything else being dynamic. And you'll see we'll get some feedback about that, where some people actually picked up on some things visually in the game, and we'll talk about that after the interviews. So here you go. We got FreeSync 2 versus G-Sync. Okay, Alan, we just gamed on Forza 7 on System 1 and System 2. Tell me, did you find any differences in the system?
So on System 1, I liked the grass texture a little better, and I think even the asphalt looked a little better on System 1. But System 2, there were some leaves flying around that I saw that I liked. Other than that, they looked pretty much the same to me.
Yeah. So if you were to give System 1 a score 1 out of 10?
Give it an 8.
System 2, 1 out of 10?
8.
8. So if one was $200 more than the other?
I'd just go with the cheaper one.
There you go. So Sheldon, you got finished gaming on Forza. How was System 1?
It was amazing, as was System 2. I felt like System 1 had better static graphics, so like the grass textures, the building textures, the car textures themselves. The static textures were, I feel, a higher quality than System 2. but System 2 had a better like moving visuals. Like there was a rainstorm in System 2 that was really cool, and there were like leaves flying around, and I felt like the physics in System 2 were better than System 1. But,
Okay. So if you had to give a score 1 to 10 on System 1?
I'd say 8 out of 10.
And System 2?
8 out of 10.
Okay.
They're just different.
Okay. So if one is $200 more than the other, would you pay that?
No, not at all.
Not at all. Okay, Frank, you got finished playing Forza. Tell me about the differences between System 1 and System 2.
System 1, they were both great, but System 1 looked just a little flatter in color than System 2. System 2 had more vivid colors to my eyes, darker reds. The contrast was just a little bit better on System 2. And I also noticed System 2 had a few features like leaves that System 1 did not have. System 1 did look great though in the mist and the inclement weather. System 2 did look better at nighttime, in the nighttime races.
So if you had to give a score to System 1 out of 10?
7 out of 10.
And 2?
9 out of 10.
All right. If there are $200 differences, would you pay $200 more for System 1 or System 2 than System 1?
Nope.
Nope. So you just got finished playing Forza 7 on our two systems, System 1 and System 2. What differences did you see between the systems?
I noticed that there was a little bit more of the fine details on System 1, like grass seemed more three-dimensional, the second system seemed real flat. Things like fog and dust and smoke rendered a lot better on the first system, and the lighting was a lot better on the first system.
What about differences in frame rate and consistency?
Both were really consistent performance. I didn't see any like drops or anything. When you're in the pack of the cars moving around and hitting, things didn't slow down really bad, so they were really even right there.
Okay. System 1 on a scale of 1 to 10?
System 1, 9 out of 10.
And System 2?
7 out of 10.
Okay, so if you had to pay $200 difference for either monitor, would you do that?
Probably not, because I don't see $200 worth of difference.
So we just finished playing Forza 7 on System 1 and System 2. Did you see any differences between System 1 and System 2?
I actually like System 2 a little bit better. I thought it was a little bit smoother. Off in the distance, I thought it was a little bit better. System 1, a little bit of grittiness to it, a little graininess overall, but I liked System 1 a little bit better.
So
System 2 a little bit better.
Okay, so scale of 1 to 10 on System 1,
8 out of 10.
scale of 1 to 10 on System 2,
I think a 9.
9.
9.5, yeah.
Is there a $200 difference in the display?
No, they're really close. I liked them both, but I think overall, I think System 2 I prefer it a little bit better.
Okay, so you just finished playing Forza 7 on our two systems. Did you see any differences between System 1 and System 2?
Saw a little bit of difference between System 1 and System 2. System 1 seemed to be a little more consistent with no pop-up, no jaggies, ran a little smoother. System 2, both looked great, but System 1 definitely to me was better.
Okay. In terms of, what about in terms of just image quality overall?
Both were pretty much the same. It seemed like there might have been a little bit of lighting going on in System 1 and then over System 2. Pretty comparable though between the two of them.
Okay, so scale of 1 to 10 for System 1?
I'd give 1 a 9 and 2 an 8. They're both pretty awesome compared to what we used to play back in the day.
So would you find $200 difference in the two displays?
I'd have a hard time trying to figure out what was 200 more than the other one.
So you finish up playing Forza 7 on both their systems. Can you tell me differences between System 1 and System 2?
Not really. Both of them were very smooth, good frame rates, nice responsiveness. I think 1 had a little bit nicer colors than 2, but other than that, I couldn't really tell a difference.
Okay, so if you had to give System 1 a grade 1 to 10?
9.
2?
8.5.
8.5? So do you see $200 difference between the two displays?
No.
So you just got finished playing Forza 7. Did you see any differences between System 1 and System 2?
System 2 was a lot more vibrant, and I felt like I was more in control of it. In System 1, it ran a lot smoother, but it was more on the dull side. It gave me the ability to just look around at my surroundings more than be focused on the one thing in the middle for System 2.
Okay, so if you had to rate System 1 on a scale of 1 to 10?
Probably a 7.
And System 2?
Probably an 8.
Probably an 8. Do you think there's $200 worth of difference in between the two displays?
No.
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 So Sean, you just got finished playing Forza 7 on our two systems. What do you think about the differences between System 1 and System 2?
System 2 is overall slightly smoother during high intensity scenes like car collisions. System 1 occasionally hitches a little bit during those instances, but System 1 had a little bit deeper, richer colors, I thought. System 2 had the gradient in the haze on track occasionally looked a little bit better in System 2, but my preference is System 2.
System
slightly.
2. Okay. Scale of 1 to 10 for System 1.
System 1, I would say an 8.
System 2.
System 2, a 9.
Okay. If you had to pay $200 difference between the two displays,
I would.
would System 2 be worth the extra $200?
No, I don't think there's enough of a difference for $200.
So there you have it. AMD FreeSync 2 versus NVIDIA G-Sync. And as you saw in our interviews, we had 4 people that preferred FreeSync 2. We had 4 people that preferred G-Sync, and the rest were a wash. What was really interesting was that nobody in our interviews that played our game, Forza 7, obviously one game, that played Forza 7, nobody saw a $200 difference in the monitors. So again, our Samsung C27 HG70 was $534 as of today. The Asus ROG Swift was the PG27VG. It was $757. So that's $223 difference in the displays themselves. Not one single person saw a value of $200 between the monitors. When it comes down to overall system cost, the difference between the 1080 Ti as of today and the Vega 64 is $170. That brings us $393 difference in our system. So we'll just round off and we'll say $400 difference in our systems that nobody said they would even spend $200 on. One thing that was interesting was, remember we talked about having the settings in Forza set to Ultra with the dynamic setting on it. And 3 of the people did notice leaves or grass, different things that were being affected by physics on the screen that were on the NVIDIA screen, but not on the AMD screen. So I believe that was Forza 7 seeing the extra GPU headroom that's left on the 1080 Ti and using that and facilitating that for the extra effects. My daughter, that was the lone female in our testing group today. I wish she'd have been as eloquent to say this on camera after we were sitting around talking about this. She said, and this kind of brought it home to me. She said that if I was, and she's probably got a couple thousand hours in CS:GO and a few hundred at least in Overwatch. And she said, if I was going to play Overwatch, I'd want to play it on System 2, which was the NVIDIA system with the Asus ROG monitor. And if I wanted to play CS:GO, I'd want to play it on System 1, which was the AMD FreeSync Samsung monitor. And I asked her why, and she said that System 1 looked more like real life, which matched better with CS:GO, and that System 2 with our G-Sync monitor was more a cartoony effect. So if she wanted to play Fortnite or Overwatch, she'd rather play it on System 2 because the colors pop more. Now we did set both the displays up exactly as instructed by AMD and or instructed by AMD via Samsung and by Asus. I did reach out to Asus on setting up that monitor specifically. So we'd set up the monitors, and also the Asus monitor was using the overclock setting as well, so it had some advantage there. So I sat down in between the gamers while they gamed during the day, and going back to what my daughter said, it really kind of brought it home. It made me realize everything that I saw on the FreeSync 2 with HDR looked more like real life. The nighttime scenes, the headlights looked more real. The weather effects looked more real. The sky looked more real. The sun looked more real. Everything going on in the game looked more real on the FreeSync 2 HDR side than I saw on the G-Sync side without HDR. So I think it comes down to that what we were seeing with System 2 looked more like a game, and what we were seeing on System 1 with the FreeSync HDR looked more like real life. And I think if I was sitting down looking at both of them, I would suggest that, yeah, the colors and the saturation, everything that we saw in System 2 were popping in, were more cartoony or more gamey, whereas the AMD FreeSync 2 really brought home just a real looking scene. And I think it kind of goes to us being conditioned possibly to, while we're playing a game, we think it should look gamey. So there you have it. FreeSync 2 versus G-Sync, pretty much a push. Nobody found either one to be worth $200 more. And I think that says a whole lot about the situation. Of course, Forza 7 is simply one game. This is totally unscientific. We're not pushing out there like this is all subjective. And so that's the opinions we got this year. This is Kyle Bennett with HardOCP.